Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mental Health Collective. We are a group that consists of 4 members: Josh Shaw, Alex Farmer, Jack Bibby, and myself, Carlo Calderoni. We are a group that aim to stimulate awareness for the mental health challenges in the world of sport. We focus specifically on how athletes cope with everyday pressures, expectations, and the commitment efforts that they put into their sport, which is a topic that is not really spoken about publicly. We provide a more realistic perspective on the elite athletes in our society and the setbacks that they have had to face in their careers. In today's episode, we'll be carrying out dual interviews with 2 elite athletes who have both reached the pinnacle of their sports regarding their performance levels. In comparison, they have both faced challenging situations within their careers where their mental health was tested. Introducing our first guest speaker, we have Alfie Payne. Alfie is a 22-year-old ex-professional footballer who played for Premier League side Norwich City Football Club from the age of 7 years old. During his long spell at Norwich, he went on to make appearances for the under-18s and the under-23 squads. He was made the captain of the under-23s and went on to be selected for the first team against Sheffield Wednesday. Currently, he plays for National League side Braintree Town, who he joined back in 2020 prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are now joined by Jack Bibby, who has Alfie live on air.
Hi guys, so today we're going to be speaking a little bit about mental health and how it affects elite athletes. I'm joined here with Alfie. Alfie, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, all good. Hello there.
Good. So moving on to the first question, how tough was it playing and training mentally at Norwich in your times there?
For me, honestly, I enjoy playing football. I love playing football, which is obviously what I was doing at Norwich. So on the whole, training every day, playing for Norwich, just a team I've always supported, I wouldn't say it's too tough mentally because I'm doing what I enjoy, I'm doing what I love, and I get to do it as a job. So so I think whenever the hard times came, like when things weren't going so well, or you weren't playing well, or you were tired, and all that sort of thing, which just comes as part of being an athlete, really. A full-time athlete, you're always going to have those days, but I think it's just the most important thing is just try and put it into perspective. One thing that I always used to tell myself is having a kick about my mates. What more would I want to do? Because that's the way I used to try and think about it. If things weren't going so well, just kind of put it into perspective. As I'm sure there's hundreds of thousands of boys that want to be doing that, having a kick about with their mates on each morning. So don't get me wrong, it's obviously hard times, and there's times where you need to like sort of grind them out and push through the days and make sure you're still training to your best while you might not be feeling your best. But overall, for me personally, it's what I love doing, and I didn't really have too many problems while I was there doing well.
Yeah, that's class, that is. Yeah, playing for your boyhood club, the team you support, must be an unreal feeling. So moving on, you got picked to be in a team against Sheffield Wednesday. Was it 2018, I believe? 2018?
Oh, yeah, time flies. Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be 2019 or 18.
18, yeah.
Yeah, time flies.
How was the experience being on the team bus, and how did you prepare for it the days before and the night before? How was it?
Yeah, well, it was unbelievable, obviously. It's what I've always wanted to do. So it's a shame we didn't quite get on, but we got close.
Yeah, you got close, yeah.
Yeah, we got close, not quite close enough. So obviously the week leading up to it, there was a few injuries, and I'd been asked to train. A bit of a funny story as to how it came about, but basically I was asked to train during the week. So I trained the full week with them. I think Tuesday, Wednesday, day off Thursday, trained Friday potentially, because they had a game midweek, I think. Anyway, so I was training through the week, and they hadn't told me that I was going to be in the squad, but you're sort of looking around thinking there ain't many, there's not many, there's a space that needs to be filled somewhere. And obviously I was the one that was training with the first team at the time, so you'd like to think that you're in the best shape to be that person. So I didn't want to jinx it or anything, but I was sort of looking around and thinking that I could get an opportunity here, which obviously I did in the end. So when I finally got told that I was going to be on the bench, obviously it was a day for my dad's birthday as well, so that was a proud moment almost to be able to tell him it's like a little early birthday present that we're going to Sheffield. So yeah, I went down on the bus on the Friday night, stayed the Friday night. When you first walk onto the bus, obviously everyone's got their seats, but as the youngster that doesn't really know where to sit, I kind of edge on there a bit awkwardly. And luckily, I'm good mates with Max, Ben, who were already with the first team, so they kind of pointed me in the right direction, pointed me where there's a spare seat. So yeah, we sat on the bus, chilled out, and then got to the hotel. Did the classic, which I'm sure people have seen of other players doing the classic initiation song. So did that Friday night over dinner. And yeah, went to rooms, chilled out, had a walk in the morning, and then before you know it, you're there, and you're there at Hillsborough, obviously quite a classic stadium. So it was a nice place to be on the bench, and yeah, it was a great experience, unbelievable experience. That was actually the day that we.
Would you say that day? Would you say that's the most nervous you've been for a game, or would you say it's?
Yeah, it's funny you say that actually, because obviously I didn't end up playing, unfortunately. Yeah. But that was the game. That was the day that we actually went top of the league.
Yeah.
And I think we were 3-0 up, maybe, because 3-0 up, and obviously things were looking good.
Yeah.
It was half time, and Ben Godfrey goes to me, "I'll just make sure you're ready, Alfie, because he normally makes a centre midfielder change towards the end." So I was like, all right. And then obviously when you're 3-0 up as well, you're thinking, maybe could I get a chance? Yeah. Obviously I'm running up and down in front of the manager, making myself look busy and all that. But my palms were actually sweaty, which I've never really experienced too much. So I think I didn't necessarily feel ridiculously nervous, but I think like subconsciously something weren't right, because my palms were sweating and everything.
Yeah. anyone would be nervous in that position. So
yeah, exactly.
That's good. Yeah, moving on to the next question as well. So obviously you're at Norwich, and at Sheffield Wednesday you must have played you sat in front of a big crowd. Did it ever affect you? Did anyone shout and stuff at you ever affect you, or was it just you were locked into the game?
To be honest, obviously, unfortunately, I didn't play at Sheffield Wednesday. That would have definitely been the biggest crowd I played in front of. I played in front of about 4,500 for the most I played in front of. So there's nothing like compared to some of the crowds people play in front of. I can't claim to have played in front of loads of people, but I think you do. I think you probably notice it before the game. You think, oh, it's actually like quite a big event today. There's quite a lot of people here. But I think as soon as that whistle goes and you actually get involved in the game, I think you do. It sounds cliche, but you do sort of switch off to it, and you don't really notice it too much. I think the only times I've really noticed the crowd probably when I played York away. They probably had about 3,000 there, and behind the goal was where most of their fans went, and the ones which were singing especially. So when they had corners and stuff like that, sometimes it's harder to communicate with your team, because when they're all shouting and then you can't quite hear things. But other than that, I can't say that the crowd has really played a big part in, negatively anyway. I think sometimes it gives you the extra boost, like when you hear them singing on. Yeah, because when we played when I played in front of 4,000, it was Kingston actually against York at home, and we won that game 1-0. And actually, obviously, the way day to Sheffield was an unbelievable day in football, but actually playing wise, that was one of my best days in football. That was because it was everyone there like knew what it like. You sort of were able to feel what it meant. I know it's only Kings in town, people might say, but you knew what it felt to the fans that were there. Obviously, at that point, it put us top of the league. So yeah, that was a great day, and it's what you want to do as a player, as an athlete. You want to play and play in front of as many people as possible, really, because that's where you get the extra adrenaline and the extra thrill.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. Moving on to the next question. Obviously, after the Sheffield Wednesday, you were released. How did that affect you mentally, getting back into playing football? And obviously, you're the position you're in now, doing very well. But in them few weeks after it, how tough was it for you?
Yeah, I think obviously it's not nice. If anyone said it was, they'd be lying, because you train. Well, most people train as hard as they can. They make sacrifices. And then when you get to your age of 20, 21, I think I was 20, to then be told that you're not quite what you want, they don't see much of a future with you and all that sort of thing, isn't really nice to hear, because no one wants to know that they're not good enough in someone else's opinion to do something. So yeah, I think obviously the first few days, first week or whatever, are tough, and probably, well, you are down. It's not nice, but I think you can either go two ways. You can either sort of go one route and sort of be upset, annoyed, and take your issues one way and almost give up, quit, or you can go the other way and think, well, you know what, it's time to prove someone wrong, sort of thing. And that's sort of the mentality that I went with. I like to think I train hard and work hard, but I'd almost say it helped me find another gear in a way, and I started working even harder. Obviously, unfortunately, I haven't been able to prove the people that I want to wrong, but hopefully time will tell, and hopefully I'll get the opportunity to. But no, I think it's not nice, and obviously you need the right people and the right support around you to help you through it. But I think the way that I'd like to think I dealt with it quite well, and the way that I took it was work harder and be better sort of thing, rather than the way some people unfortunately do, which is that's not quite for them, and they might not go down the right path and give up and quit almost. So I think obviously it depends on your personality and how you go into situations. It's quite a shock to the system for me, because obviously I've been going to Norwich from 6-7 years old. I've been going there every day, every other day for 15 years. So for 14-15 years. But so I think that was the bit that was probably the hardest, was the fact that you're thinking that all the people you're not going to see them anymore, sort of thing, and what next. But I think once you start getting a bit of a plan going, and all that sort of thing, I think you can start getting concentrated and focused and working hard again.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you got to have the right commitment afterwards, and that's what you seem to have.
Yeah, it's how you react to it, isn't it? It's the most important thing.
Yeah. From your time when you got released, was there a support network available from the football club, or when you were there in the months prior to it, was there any support with that or with the release?
Yeah, I think it was tough. I think obviously it came at the worst time for me, because I got released of the season where COVID hit and stopped everything from stopped football basically.
Yeah.
So I think it came at a bad time. In a way, it maybe helped, because it meant I never really had a last day, because my last day, I didn't know it was going to be my last day, so I never really had the problems of having to go say goodbye to everyone, which probably helped in a way, because I think that would have been the hardest part of it all, like walking around and for the last time, because I knew it wasn't the last time. Because the last time I was there, I didn't know it was the last time. Yeah. Maybe actually helped a bit. But with regards to actually the support, there are player cares. There's a player care guy called Clive who tried to offer a lot of support. I think obviously it's quite a new thing in football, I think. Yeah. So I think he obviously have to try his best and try to get in contact, but I think it's quite new to people how to offer the best support possible to players and stuff, because obviously it's been more of a relevant issue recently after what's come out in the news and stuff, with players struggling with mental health, and struggling to deal with situations like this. So I think the support was there, if you search it out, and I think he was there to help. But I'd like to think hopefully now and even in the next few years that will just keep on improving, and hopefully that support network will be there for players. But it is tough, and obviously not everyone deals with it in the same way as other people.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, and the last question, from now to when you were at Norwich, is there anything you do differently in preparation for games, or just habits you have different? Anything else?
No, I don't think there isn't really. I think obviously the problem right now is that I've gone into part-time, unfortunately. I'm still hoping to go back into full-time football, but currently I'm playing part-time football. So I think the preparation is a bit more difficult, because obviously instead of having it set out, you do this, this, and this, and then you've got the game on Saturday. You've now only got you're only there half the time, obviously. So the actual controlled work is a bit less. Obviously train on a Thursday evening, so I like to train on a Thursday evening. I like to get up on Friday, do a little bit of ball work, because obviously normally I'd train day before a game when I was at Norwich. But obviously I can't train properly day before a game anymore because there's no team to train with. So normally I try and go out and do my own bits, prepare properly. Obviously I'd still do the same food habits and stuff, because obviously while it's not the same level I was when I was at Norwich, I still want to do the best I can in the games, and there's still people paying to watch you play, so you want to do the best that you can for them as well. So no, I still try and prepare to the best of my ability each game, which is obviously slightly different now that I'm part-time, but in the whole, the same as I would for a game at Norwich.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for coming on, Alfie. Really
no worries.
And congratulations with Braintree, and I hope you have a really good season.
Thank you, Jack and Alfie. Moving on to our second guest speaker, we have Paralympian Rebbeca Redfern. She's 21 years old and is a two-time silver medalist for Team GB. She received her medals at Rio 2016 and Tokyo 2020 for the 100-meter S13 breaststroke. She also earned gold at the World Para Swimming Championships back in 2019 in London. During her training for the 2020 Paralympics, she gave birth to her son, which was a challenge for her to overcome. Introducing her is Alex Farmer, who is currently connected to Rebecca now.
Becky, thank you for joining us. We've got just a few questions about how mental health affects elite athletes, and I invited you on because I thought you were a good candidate.
Yeah.
So first question, how did you prepare mentally for your first Paralympics in Rio?
I mean, the first one was kind of like a whirlwind, and I didn't really have that much time to prepare for it. I qualified almost out of the blue, and then had about 3 months to do my GCSEs and then go. So I didn't really prepare much mentally. I think looking back, it would have been good to have some mental health training on it, because especially afterwards, there was a massive dip and you go into like the post-game blues, and that was really tough. And I wish I had that like explained to me before.
Yeah, definitely. Did this differ to your second win in second medal in Tokyo? And were you expected to repeat the success of Rio?
Well, I mean, I'd just come back from having a baby, so it wasn't. I felt like there was no pressure on me. Like, I certainly wasn't putting any pressure on myself, and like just going in the first place was like the main goal. I suppose there was a little bit of pressure because I was going in as the world champion, so like the people that didn't know my story were seeing me, and there was pressure from them. But I mean, I suppose there's always pressure at a big games, but I tried to stay away from it and not let it get me down.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. Linking to social media, what has your experience of social media been, and has it changed? Did it change from before your success to after?
Yeah, I definitely get a lot more unwanted comments in my inbox and things like that. I suppose I try and be a bit more professional on social media, so I post about, like, I don't post that much, but I post like a thank you if I go to an event, or just like updates on my life and Patrick, but I keep it very much professional, rather than like going out drinking and posting that and things like that.
Yeah, it's good. Right, how did you, obviously the past recent years for sport have been very different, so how do you motivate yourselves during the periods where you're not competing?
I mean, with COVID, and there were talks of like the games not happening, and that was really tough, especially like because pools weren't open anyway. So I was training in my garden, and to get the motivation to actually go out and swim in the snow was really tough, because it was like, why am I doing it if the games aren't going to go ahead? So there was always that question, and in the build up to Tokyo, I found it really tough, and especially the thought of leaving home and being away for so long, that was really tough as well. But it was then that like end goal of, but I need to do it. I want to prove to everyone that you can be a mom and still do the things that everyone else can do, and like I can still train hard, and just because I've got a baby and I'm breastfeeding and all of that stuff, like it doesn't stop me from achieving what my goals were. So I just did that in my head all the time kind of motivated me.
Yeah, well, that brings me on to my next question. How was your training affected before and after your pregnancy? Was it harder to get back into training mentally, for example?
It was, but it gave me that break from everything, and it gave me that time just to clear my head and do something different. And it, like, that was the path that was me. Like, before pregnancy, that was who I was. I was Rebbeca Redfern, the swimmer, and then after having Patrick, I was then like the mom, and going back into swimming, I was then Rebbeca Redfern, the swimmer. And it was just really nice to have that break from my life and getting back into who I used to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, does training does it help you take your mind off personal issues in life?
Yeah, definitely. I use it as like a stress release as well. And I just, if I've got issues at work or with Patrick, then I just go and thrash it out in the pool, and that just clears my head, and then I'm fresh for the next day. And similarly, if there's issues with my training, then I used to let a bad session affect the rest of my life, and that would, like, if I had a bad session, that would be it for the rest of the day, and I'd just be in a really bad mood. But now it's like, if I have a bad session, then it's okay because I've got other things going on in my life. So they're separate now, whereas before it kind of like just took over.
Yeah, I get that. Well, thank you, Becky. Congratulations on your success.
Thanks.
I'd like to say a massive thank you to the guest speakers today, Rebecca and Alfie. I think they did a phenomenal job and they answered every question asked to a very good standard. You know, I think there's a lot to be learned from them, and you know, I think they did a good message today, and obviously promoting good mental health, especially for athletes. Hopefully everyone can take something from what they said, and hopefully everyone enjoyed the event that's put on today. I'd also like to thank the other hosts of the show, Alex, Jack, and Carlo, who did a phenomenal job as well. And anybody would like any more information on, you know, mental health in sport, there'll be a few links down in the description of this video, and you know, go check them out, go give them a read, and also at the end of the show there'll be, you know, just a few numbers on the screen. You know, hopefully you can ring, and if you know, if there is any issues, get them a call and they'll do their best to help. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed, and from the whole Mental Health Collective, I hope you enjoy the show.